Okay, here we are in World of Tanks with the ERG and myself. I'm Sirgan over there on the left. We're both in our Matilda medium tanks. Uh, this tank is based on the British World War II Matilda infantry tank. Infantry tanks were designed to keep up with the infantry, so they're slow. In World of Tanks, that can be bad if you're trying to, for example, cross an open field heading towards a group of enemies. Because you can't cross the field very quickly, you can't dodge, and you're basically sitting duck. So we're heading towards the town in the northwest corner of this map. The Matilda has fairly decent armor for this tier. It's not impervious, but it'll bounce a lot of shots. The gun is a high-velocity, high-penetration gun, but it doesn't do much damage at all. You sort of nibble away at the enemies. You see, we got my gun turned off to the side. I was hoping that some of our guys would some of our light tanks would go scout up the middle, so we don't get flanked. But we're basically running down along the north edge and the east edge of the map. Could cause problems for us, but fortunately the enemy team is also doing pretty much the same thing, ignoring the middle of the map. Coming up on town now. And as you see, Evan and I, or to the ERG and I, are kind of slow on this. The enemy, or the other players, have gotten ahead of us. Now, some of the people are going down the alleyways. We're about to start heading down the middle of this main street here, which could be a mistake. I'm going to stop the map here and swing the camera around. You can see that I'm in the back. I'm behind the ERG, but I'm the one who actually spotted that tank and the next tank that comes across. The tank is just at the edge of the ERG's view range. In the mini-map in the lower right-hand corner, that's the bright green circle. When we switch over to my tank, you'll see I have a much larger view range, because I outfitted my tank for vision on the move. Now at this point, see, I'm starting to swing off towards the left here. I'm thinking we don't want to go down this big street because you see those brick buildings there, they sort of like caught a funnel, and if you're caught out in the middle there, you can't get into cover if they start shooting us. So I'm heading around to the alleyway over there. Unfortunately, I forget to tell the ERG that, so he continues forward, and I leave him to his fate as I run around into the alleyways. Now we're back to the ERG's point of view. There's a M8. M8 bounces. I had a slightly different angle, and I penetrated with the same gun. Now the ERG sees an enemy light tank around this corner. And that player isn't very good. He pulls forward far enough for the ERG to shoot him, but he doesn't pull forward far enough to use his gun to fire back. And now the ERG's starting to take shots from the tank destroyer at the far end of the street. Now you see the ERG's almost dead, and he really can't go anywhere at this point because he's got solid brick walls on both sides of him. But he's chewing up that M8 whenever he pulls out. M8 has a fairly rapid gun, but not as rapid fire as the Matildas. So it gets lots of shots in, and finally kills him. And you see I swung around, and I don't even see that T-80 over there. So the ERG chases him away. That T-80 could have ruined my day, and I didn't even notice him. And the T-80 runs because he can't do anything. But now the ERG's got a T-14 heavy tank shooting him in behind, and the T-14 shoots him up the ass and kills him. So now we're going to switch over to my point of view of this battle. Okay, now here's my view of the battle. As you can see, I'm behind the ERG, but I'm the one who actually spotted that T-14, and my view range circle goes almost to the edge of the map here. The white circle in the mini-map is the maximum range at which the game will let you spot your own targets, and my view range is almost to that point. Now, things like camouflage, concealment skill, or hiding behind bushes cuts that down, but I'm almost, my maximum detection range is almost to the maximum the game will allow. Now, at this point, as you see, I'm starting to head for the alleyway behind those buildings on our left. I do not want to go down this main drag here. And as I said earlier, I forgot to mention that to the ERG, so he thinks I'm backing him up, and I'm going to run for the alleys. And there you see, I had a slightly better angle on the ERG, so my shot actually penetrated that M8A1, while his bounced, even though same gun, same armor. Now I see that Covenanter up there on the other side of this brick building. Brick buildings in this game cannot be knocked down by shells if I'm driving through. So I'm trying to circle around. I figure if he backs away to run away, I can shoot him in the side. But he just stays there. So I start shooting up the ass. At this point, I'm in voice chat with the ERG, and I'm laughing my ass off because I'm in a Matilda, and I just flanked the enemy. Now I tunnel vision ahead of me. Oop. There's a T-14. That's their heavy tank. And if he pulls out, I try and knock his tracks off to keep him in place, but he's able to pull back. I only did 57 damage. This gun does not do enough damage in one shot to knock the tracks off an enemy tank. Looks like it's going to stay there. So now I start going forward again, and I totally miss the tank that comes in on my left, that T-80, which the ERG. Now the wooden buildings, most wooden buildings on this particular map, you can shoot or drive through. So I'm firing at that Lux light tank through the buildings. Unfortunately, I have a tendency when I'm blind firing or pre-aiming to aim too high. I put my cursor or my aim point right underneath the label where it says Lux. And actually, I should be aiming lower. It's a bad habit of mine. So some of my shots would have hit, and that one's going through one of those brick buildings. Up there's that T-80 again. Now, at this point, I put the little green circle in the center of my screen on the vehicle and right-clicked. That told my gunner to keep aiming at it. So now I can concentrate on driving the tank, and the turret will keep trying to track and point at his vehicle. At close ranges, that's very handy because there's not much lead time. At longer ranges, you really have to go manual. But this time, I'm basically automatically aiming at him using the built-in feature. So I can just keep on driving, and whenever my gun reloads, I just squeeze the trigger. And the gunner tells me that he can't see the target, which of course it's destroyed. Now I'm going to head back over to the west again. The Panzer 4H could be a problem. I'm kind of worried about him. He could have a big gun. I also want to get that Lux. If the Lux has a 30mm, he can chew me up. That has high armor penetration capability. But now I spot a Hetzer coming in. Now, Hetzers, most of the armor on the Hetzer is not a problem for me. I have 112, 120mm of penetration. He has 60mm of armor. Even though it's sloped, I can go through everywhere in his tank except for the extra armor right around the gun mounting. Where did my first shot hit? Now I see he's got the 75mm gun. I know I can take a couple of hits from him, so I'm not too worried. I just sit here and keep shooting. Now I'm going to go back to that Panzer 4H. He could have the 105mm gun, and that could probably finish off my remaining hit points, even if he doesn't penetrate. Fires a high explosive shell. And that church is bulletproof. But he pulls out. I'm able to fire before he can shoot. Now at this point, I was thinking about going back to the east, because that's the last place enemy vehicles were known to be seen. But I see that there's surviving tanks behind me are pulling to the south, so I decided to go forward with them. Even though that means crossing a big open field, and there's probably tank destroyers hiding in the bushes on top of that hill. So I try to use these bushes to give me concealment. I'm thinking about going down into that little dip there in front of that building. Make it hard for them to shoot at me until I get closer. Right about now, a Hetzer became visible when he shot at the tank to my side. And he does not pull back behind the hill. After you're spotted in World of Tanks, your vehicle is visible to all enemy players for about 10 seconds. So he just stays there. But I do not get the kill. The Su-85 on our team got the kill on him. But I was the one who was spotting for him, so I got partial credit for that kill. And the Matilda on the far flank dies, and that's the end of the game. End of the game. So let's go and see what the results are. And here's the results screen from that match. You look at my results here. First class, which means almost master game on this one. Need to probably got one more kill. I may have got mastery on this. Bruiser for injuring a bunch of enemy crew members and causing component damage. A duelist. I destroyed at least 2 enemy vehicles that damaged me. Killed 4 or 5 enemy vehicles. I got 4. Fire for effect. Caused more damage to enemy vehicles than hit points in my vehicle. I did 1,069 damage. Cool-headed for saving at least 10 ricochets. That Lux was opened up on me with an autocannon. The Lux can carry a 30 millimeter that probably would have penetrated, but he wasn't, so he may have been using one of the earlier 20 millimeter guns. And the high caliber. I did the most damage of anyone on our team, over 20%. Look at the team scores. I was top on damage and top on EXP, and the ERG was down on 4th in the list. Between the two of us, we killed 1/3 of the enemy players and did over 1/3 of the total damage in our team. All in all, a very good result.